obviously this is the Centenary conference for the ACE. Next 100 years, what advice would you have for the organisation?
Well, I think the one thing you know for certain is in 100 years' time it'll be very different to the organisation it is today. The one thing none of us know is how different or in what ways. But I think it's just it's crucial that the ACE continues to adapt to the requirements of its members. I suspect that over the next 20 years, the distinction between consultants and contractors will blur even further from where it is. And so the ACE will have an issue in reacting to that change. So I think there's a challenge there, in just the same way that there'll be a challenge for all consultants in ensuring that sustainability is built into projects in a much more fundamental way. So there will be change, difficult to predict other than one or two mega trends, but as long as the ACE stays close to its members, it will be able to adapt to the needs of the future.
I think what Nelson has done over the last 10 years, I've known Nelson for that time frame when it first started. I think he can continue to put ACE as a front line advocate of the engineering industry would be fantastic for the next 100 years, because what he's done in 10 years I think has been paramount for the success of engineering firms going forward. So continue to do that. So definitely be the voice of the industry.
I would say it needs to continue developing its links with government. That appears to have moved on quite a lot in the last 5 years. I think that's got to be continued and promoted wherever possible. Clearly, as Danny Alexander said this morning, ACE now has the ear of government, which I think is brilliant. So I think that has to continue. I think there has to be continually assessing the service it provides to members to make sure it meets their current requirements, which could of course change from time to time. And I think those are the main things really.
Engineers have to remember what their core values are. Their core values are their technical ability, their financial ability, and they need to be making sure they're out there and explaining to the world why those are of value. There was mention of the golden age of infrastructure. I like the phrase the golden age of engineering, and we're in it. But we've got to make sure that clients and communities and governments know that the answers to the big challenges of the world come from engineering thought and the rigor of engineering thought. So that's key. The other thing that's key is to understand the way things happen and what gets in the way of stopping them happening. And if we take, for example, the way that the Olympics was delivered, there's an enormous amount of the fact that it happened came from setting up an organization like the ODA, with a very good leader at the top, with powers to get on with the job, planning, to deal with compulsory purchase, and to be able to structure and manage the project in the right way. And we need to recognize that this is as important and is engineering, as much engineering, as the very technical stuff that follows behind, but you need both of them together.
Well, keep doing what it's doing well at, and the last 10 years has been fantastic under Nelson's leadership, and I think it's got great legs going forward, and it's making really good progress in political spheres and industry spheres, and people are very respective of the AC and what it does, so it's got a good future.
I think my advice to ACE would, it has a very polarised membership. It has big members who want one thing from it and small members who want something else from it. And somehow it has to get the balance right of delivering to both parties what they want. And of course the big ones want the ACE to be the voice of the industry, to put forward their views to government and to lobby, and the small businesses also want that, but they also want the services that ACE can provide, and clearly ACE has to do a good job on both of those fronts if it's to survive.
That's a tricky one. I think as an organisation we have to be dynamic because we're in a changing marketplace really, both in the nature of the membership, a number of the financial challenges that are across the sector. So I guess it's not to expect it to be the same in the next 100 years, and to keep evolving and changing is a key really.
I would like to see ACE engaging with young people, getting more people into engineering, this sort of thing. And indeed, I've started to do that again in Scotland. I've engaged with University of Strathclyde, and we're talking about sponsoring some of their students and perhaps giving them an award. And we have Professor Jim MacDonald, who's a principal of Strathclyde University, coming also to our Centenary dinner next week. So that's good, yes. And I think over the next in 100 years' time, I would like to see us as the voice of engineering in Scotland. So long before then, actually, I would like to see that happen. But I think we do have a strong case to make.
I think the next century there are global challenges. You know, we've got a number of fragile and conflict states that the UK government's trying to provide stabilisation with. I don't think that's going to go away. I think the massive challenge about growing infrastructure whilst protecting the environment, getting water resources into areas that need it, I think that's a key theme. And then the final one would be this desire for the world to be better connected, digitally connected, transport connected, city to city, hub to hub. They're massive issues, but the thing that I take comfort from is engineers have always solved major global problems. Industrial revolution, water scarcity, whatever it might be, engineers, not governments, have solved those problems. So whilst I think it's going to be challenging, I think engineers will remain very much at the forefront of solving global problems.
I think lessons can be learned from the past. 90 years before I came into AC, there's a lot of challenges that AC face. I think the real issue is that to have an AC, which one of the 5th golden rule, to be dynamic, to be responsive, that we understand how the market is changing and we change with it. And if we don't respond to the market dynamics, we're going to be in trouble. The real issue for any organization, and particularly AC and the industry, is to constantly develop competitive advantage. You have to develop competitive advantage in what you do, in how you position yourself, who you represent, and how you package yourself. I believe we've been able to do that in the last 9 years, hence the outcome. Going into the next 100 years, well, I won't be here in 100 years, but let's hope we can leave some legacy. I believe the lesson learned and the changes we put in place in the last 10 years should help us to move forward in a very positive way. I believe those who are coming after us, we pick that up as an opportunity for them to build and to make their mark on ACE. The achievement has been great, but it's not good enough. We can always work on it. And I think the future is bright for ACE. The future is bright for British consulting industry. If we can continue to develop that competitive advantage and actually run ACE as a business representative body that is dynamic, that is far-reaching, that embraces the dynamic of the industry, that doesn't speak in silo, and also engage government and stakeholders at the right level, at the right time, is very important. So I wish AC 100 years on. Good luck and all the best. God bless.